What's up, y'all? Today's video is for those of you who have no balls. Nah, just kidding. This is more of a video for someone who's more on the beginner to intermediate level, wanting to go wake to wake or learn some of their first flips or tricks wake to wake. And sometimes it can be quite intimidating going all the way wake to wake at more of a full speed of riding and a longer length rope. So this is kind of how you can do it more safely and not risk getting injured so much. Honestly, when I first started wakeboarding, I do wish I knew that you could do this, because over the course of my entire career, I've probably racked up 15 to 20 or even more concussions, and I think that this technique could save you a lot of headaches. If you don't feel like watching the entire video, I'll just tell you the technique now. It's really simple, and a lot of you probably already know about it, but I would assume that a lot of you don't. But it's basically just slowing the boat down to a slower speed and shortening your rope so that your impact is a lot less when you crash. If you do feel like sticking around through the entire video though, I will go a little bit more into detail and show you my exact settings I use whenever I wakeboard and the speed that I ride versus what it's like to ride at a much shorter rope and a slower speed, and kind of show the difference in distance it would take to jump wake to wake, or maybe just sort of how fast it feels while you're out there and how much less scary it feels whenever you are at this slower speed and shorter rope. So the boat I usually ride on is a Centurion RI 230, and the ballast settings I usually run are 100% in every ballast tank available, which I believe adds up to 5,400 pounds of weight. If I am the driver, I normally just use the cat's tab and press left or right once the boat is on plane to make sure the boat is perfectly level. But if I'm not the driver and the driver doesn't necessarily know how to use that option, since it's not on all boats, I do have 2 lead bags in the boat. They each weigh about 50 pounds that you can just move it left or right to make sure the boat is flat and make sure that the wake is absolutely perfect. Also, that 100 pounds of lead is nice because I don't always have a ton of people on the boat. Plus, Airbud only weighs in around 25 pounds, and I'd say Cat is a max of 100 pounds, so there isn't really a whole lot of human weight always on the boat. And the speed that I normally ride at is 22.8 miles per hour. As you can see right here, that is the speed I normally start at. If there's like absolutely no wind outside, sometimes I'll bump it down to about 22.6, and the slowest I'll ever go is probably around 22.4. And if it is a little bit windy out or kind of choppy out, I might bump it up to 23 miles per hour, because when there's a lot of wind, it can kind of make the wake a little bit more lippy. So whenever you give it that little bit of extra speed, it will clean it up. I know traveling at just under 23 miles per hour may not seem like a crazy fast speed, but while you're behind the boat and edging, traveling sideways wake to wake while also traveling forward at the same time, I'm not really a scientist or anything, but I feel like sometimes it could add up to maybe even 30 miles per hour or even almost 40. And if you happen to catch your edge at, say, this 40 mile per hour speed, the whip of the length of your body and your head smashing into the water might even add another 10 to 15 miles per hour into your crash, and you might even be smashing your face into the water at around 55 miles an hour. These speeds I'm making up at the top of my head could be complete bullshit, but I do know whenever you do whip your head and smash your face into the water at this speed, the water does feel like concrete and could definitely result in a pretty bad concussion. So let's check out what this wake looks like at 22.8 miles per hour. Then we'll just slap the GoPro on my head and we'll go out there and talk about it and sort of check out the distance between the wakes, and yeah, we'll just see what it's like. And then after that, we'll hop back in the water and check it out at a slower speed, no ballast, and a much shorter rope. Also, I think I forgot to mention, the rope length I normally ride at is 75 feet long. So yeah, what we're gonna be riding right here, right now, 22.8 miles per hour, full ballast. So that's 5,400 pounds at a 75-foot rope. So yeah, we're gonna hop in the water now and we're gonna see what it's like. All right, so right now, 75 feet at 22.8 miles per hour. This is kind of what the wake looks like on this side. It's nice and clean, but the distance from here all the way to here seems quite long and could be quite scary for some. Also on this side of the wake, it's nice and clean as well. At this speed, the wake will be more solid and firm, so you will get more pop off of it. So we're gonna do a couple tricks that maybe a lot of beginners or intermediate riders will be working on. The first trick, let's just say a wake-to-wake jump. We are really wide out here. We'll have a nice edge in, pop up, and land. And that was quite a lot of travel, and I did have to get pretty wide to actually start building up that momentum to go all the way wake to wake. You could, however, do a really short, hard edge, but at this length and speed, it could be a little bit more intimidating than it would be at a shorter length rope at a slower speed. Now, I will say that not everyone really struggles on a heel side wake to wake, but it is a lot more difficult to carry your momentum toe side. So at this length of rope, it may be a bit harder. You may have to carry that edge all the way up and through to go all the way wake to wake toe side. So the next trick I am going to do will be a heel side backside 180. This trick could be quite scary for some, because if you do catch a back edge traveling that much distance at that speed, it will result in a very heavy impact. And yeah, I do find it a lot scarier to learn at first at this length, because we do have to get nice and wide out here and generate that momentum to get all the way across. Same as the backside 180, you do have the same landing on a toe front 3. Your first flip you do learn could be a tantrum or maybe a back roll, maybe even a scarecrow, and this might be scarier at this speed as well. All right, those were some pretty beginner to intermediate-ish type tricks. I did forget to do the heel side, front side 360, but that's okay. We'll do that here in a minute. Also, that was at the longer sort of 75-foot rope in a more of a higher speed situation and more of a high risk situation. Now we're going to drastically shorten the rope and drop the speed quite a lot, while also emptying the ballast all the way to 0. I know you may think when the ballast is at 0 that the wake will be small, but the slower you go, the bigger the wake actually gets. But whenever you are going this slow, the wake won't be clean as far back. And although the wake is bigger, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will jump higher, because at these slower speeds, the water will be softer and more mushy, so you won't be able to get as much pop off the wake as you normally would at the higher speeds. But since the water is softer, it won't hurt as bad when you crash, and it'll be less likely for you to get injured. After looking at the wake, I'm going to estimate that we're probably going to want around a 55-foot rope. However, my rope's shortest length is 65 feet, so I'm going to show you guys a quick little hack so you can shorten your rope without actually tying a knot in it. You're just going to want to take your rope like this, put it right there, and do a little whoop around, and then take this rope right here, put it up and over top of the ball, take your loop, go underneath your rope, and bring that loop back up over the ball, and then just pull it tight, and it should never slip, and you won't end up actually tying a knot in your rope, so you'll be able to continue using it normally. Complete and final settings I'm about to go ride is a 55-foot rope at 18.5 miles per hour, and also completely 0 ballast in all of the tanks. So yeah, we'll hop out there, we'll see how it is, and we'll see how much less intimidating it actually is. Quick intermission for today's video. I am dropping a little bit of merch today. Basics actually sent me over this brand new You Won't shirt. It has these small little logos right there. It's a normal size shirt. Before I had some long tees, but basically just a normal black shirt with a You Won't tag right there. I also should have some You Won't stickers over on the Basics website as well. I'm not exactly sure if they'll be out yet as of this video, but I will leave the link to the website down below, and if it's not out of this video, for sure just keep checking back and it will be available soon. All right, hopping in the water now. Oh dang, we are really close to the boat. up and on plane now, and as you can see, the wake on this side is nice and clean. I can definitely tell a difference in the speed. It feels like I'm even going slower than I do at a cable park. And also the distance from this wake to this one does feel a lot shorter, and the wake is also clean on this side, and the wake doesn't look too small since we are going very slow. The wake is built up nice and big, but the water does feel a bit more mushy. All right, let's give you guys a nice little wake to wake jump. All right, I definitely did get quite a bit of pop, but I did not feel the same amount of hang time I did earlier on the longer rope with the more harder packed wake, but it wasn't nearly as intimidating. The gap wasn't as far, and it definitely felt like if I were to catch my nose or my toe side edge or even a back edge, it definitely wouldn't hurt as bad. Let's give y'all a toe side wake to wake as well. And that was way less intimidating than an actual toe side wake to wake at like a normal length. So I will say that if you are learning this for the first time, I think it will be very helpful. Since I can probably almost ollie wake to wake, I feel like the backside 180 wake to wake will be a lot less intimidating, maybe even feel more like an ollie to blind. So I'm gonna do a quick little backside 180. Wow, that was nice. That was like a really nice feeling. We should ride like this more often. I think it's quite fun and I don't know, more of like a cruisy feeling. We can do the toe side 360 as well. And don't forget the tantrum scarecrow and the back roll. Wow, it feels so weird taking these short edges. I feel like I'm sort of like trick skiing. But man, that was like so easy and effortless. Oh yeah, and we can't forget to do the heel side front side 360. All right, I just got back home from the boat. I actually haven't looked over any of the footage yet, but hopefully you can actually see the differences in the lengths of rope, the speeds I'm actually traveling, and the distance it takes to actually travel wake to wake. And hopefully you guys can kind of understand how much safer it is at these slower speeds. And hopefully if you guys try this, it can help you build some confidence to try some new tricks for the first time. Oh, and one thing I forgot to say while I was on the boat earlier is that the slower you actually go, the wider the wakes will get. So if you are traveling at 18.5 miles per hour at a 55-foot rope and the wakes do feel too wide for you, don't be scared to speed it up a bit. 19 miles per hour or 20 miles per hour is still a lot slower than say just under 23. So whenever you do smack the water, it will hurt a lot less and it will still be a lot less likely for you to get injured. I am definitely not the kind of person to really promote safety because I for sure did not learn this way. I got hammered and I got multiple concussions throughout my learning process, but I definitely wish that I knew that you could do this because it would have saved me a lot of headaches, and yeah, I would have committed to stuff a lot earlier than I actually did. Also, not every single boat is the same, so maybe on some boats at 18.5 miles per hour, the wake might end up being sort of washy and not clean. It just so happens that on the Centurion RI 230, it can hold a clean wake at these slower speeds. Some boats you might have to go 19 or so, or other boats maybe you could go even slower. It just really depends. So it will take some fine tuning to sort of find the perfect slow speed wake for you guys. You also could go a shorter rope or a longer rope than 55 feet. But yeah, just kind of play with different speeds, different rope lengths, and you can find whatever works best for you. And last but not least, if you guys want to learn something new, it is really up to you. There isn't really necessarily a hack that will just make you learn something new. At the end of the day, you just have to not be a and give it a shot and try that trick you want to try, because if you don't ever attempt it, you're never going to learn it. But at these slower speeds, it will be less scary. So yeah, get out there, try new things, and you will become a better rider. If you do get hurt though, that's your fault and not my responsibility. So yeah, that one's on you. That's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys did like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up, comment below what kind of videos you guys want to see in the future. And remember, I'll be uploading a wakeboarding video every second day forever. So make sure you guys subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Peace.